Hey, what's up, guys? And a very happy Wednesday. It was a fantastic Wednesday across North Alabama, Southern Middle Tennessee. Only got a few folks in, but again, I'm going to blame that on the fact that I used to do these on a daily basis, and then I've kind of dropped to doing them only when there's important weather to talk about. I really need to bring these back up to doing them on a more daily basis. But anywho, a fantastic Wednesday across the Tennessee Valley. Really, the only thing that kind of made this Wednesday not so fantastic are the ever wonderful Bradford pear trees. Why anybody, and I'm sorry if you put one of these willingly into your yard, and I can admit they do look really pretty, but why anybody would willingly put a Bradford pear in their yard is somewhat beyond me. It's not necessarily a concept that I understand. So if you willingly chose to put a Bradford pear in your yard, if you could explain to me as to why, I would greatly appreciate that. So, Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day, Friday and Saturday. Not today, not tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Friday and Saturday. We're talking about multiple rounds of severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. And that's all stuff that we're going to get into here over the next several minutes. Lisa says, hi, Jordan, watching from Hartselle. And I know there's a variety of you potentially watching in a couple of different places. You could be on my Facebook page, Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. You could be on the Fox 54 Facebook page, or you could be watching on Fox 54 Plus. So a variety of different ways that you could be watching. If you have any questions, the best way to get me to see your question would be to stream it on Fox 54 Plus on your TV and then ask me your question on your phone. That would be probably the most ideal way to go about this. I suppose you could always just hop over to my Facebook page, Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman, and drop your question there. I tend to be somewhat slow in getting to the questions on the Fox 54 Facebook page. But if you do have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. And I will always go back through after the chat has ended. And if I see any questions that I happen to have missed, then I will go in and answer those as well. River is watching from over in Florence. Good evening, River. Over in Florence, they saw a high temperature this afternoon of 78 degrees. Athens and Decatur also saw 78, 76 today in Fort Payne, 77, both Pulaski and Fayetteville. Is Elkmont, Alabama going to be in the path? At some point, yes. Most of us are talking about the threat for strong and severe thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. If it doesn't happen to you Friday night, early Saturday morning, it's going to happen through the later part of Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, and then maybe Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. Lundy says, so no outlaw tournament Saturday on. Probably not. If I was a betting man, I cannot imagine there's going to be a fishing tournament this weekend. I know, not the news you want to hear, but odds are better than not. There is probably not going to be a fishing tournament this weekend. Marta says, hey from Madison. Hey, Marta, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate that. Let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about that Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day. It is going to run Friday night through Saturday morning. So I put 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. Friday night through 12 p.m. Sunday. And it's probably going a little far by putting it at 12 p.m. on Sunday, but you get the picture. We're talking about a prolonged period where we're going to be talking about concerning weather across the Tennessee Valley. And that's something we're going to want to be mindful of. The main threat, and really the only threat, is going to be the threat for severe thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. And at some point during that period, Friday through Sunday, all modes of severe weather are going to be possible. Heavy rain, gusty winds, a little bit of hail. And yes, we are throwing in a tornado threat this time around. So we're really going to want to be mindful over the next couple of days and really hone in on our severe weather preparations over the next couple of days. Download the Fox 54 app. It's a great resource to have. You'll get up-to-date forecast. Meteorologist Emily Owen will be providing an up-to-date forecast tomorrow morning. And then we'll have other updates through the course of the afternoon as we head into the evening. And then, of course, we'll have updates for you on Friday as well. Now is a great time to dust off your severe weather plan, right? It's kind of been shoved away in the back of your mind for about the last year or so. Now is the time to dust off the severe weather plan. Maybe clean out your storm shelter. If by chance you happen to have a storm shelter, clear it out, but at the same time, also make sure it's stocked with all of the essentials, just in case you end up spending a couple of hours in your storm shelter, again, if you have one. And then just have, in general, your severe weather kit. Maybe you're going to be going to a shelter. Maybe that's an option for you. Maybe you can travel to a shelter. I'm sure you can bring a couple of items with you into that shelter. So just have, in general, your severe weather kit ready to go as we head into the weekend. Hey, if y'all don't mind, I know there's only a couple of you joining, but I would greatly appreciate it. Got about 22 right now. If you would go ahead and share this video, I would love to get more people to see, more people to watch, and see if we can get some more questions. I want to be able to answer as many questions as possible. So if you don't mind giving it a quick share, I'm certainly not going to force you into sharing it, but you know, if you don't mind, I would really appreciate the quick share. Live lookout over the Parkway. This evening we're looking south on Memorial Parkway. This is literally right from the top of our building. It's actually a really quiet, peaceful night, though I just heard a really large truck go through. Lisa says, I'm in Huntsville and working on a decision about the St. Patrick's Day parade on Sunday. You know, thank you, Lisa, for sharing. And then Lisa, back to other Lisa, I guess. On a are you like Lisa? Are you the one in charge of deciding you have the parade or don't have the parade? Are you that person that decides whether they? And I'm sorry, maybe I should know the answer to that question. Yeah, let me know if you're the person in charge of having or not having the parade. Yeah, that's a really big decision to make this weekend. Oh, you are? Oh boy. You might want to email me over the next couple of days if you need a little bit of assistance. Right now, I would candidly tell you it's going to be close. I would, if nothing were to change right now, Lisa, I would err on the side of not having the parade. And I know that is not the information you want to hear. Like that is literally the last thing you want me to say. But if you want to email me, and we can email back and forth over the next couple of days, and I can help you out. I'm sure there's a deadline as to when you actually have to make that decision. So if you want, you can email me, and we can talk more about that. JJ says he shared. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Current numbers across the Tennessee Valley. Many of us are sitting in the 60s. We're not going to move much as we head into the overnight. Temperatures are only going to drop into the mid-50s. We're going to begin to see an increase in cloud cover across the Tennessee Valley, and that's really going to prevent temperatures from falling off that much. Barbara says, what will the impact be on the Auburn area this weekend? Auburn is basically going to get whatever we're going to get. We're talking about a widespread threat of severe weather across the entire state of Alabama. So the threat up here is going to be really close to, if not identical, to the threat down in Auburn. So 56 at 7, 57 by 8, 59 by 9. It's going to be a great morning for what few kids I believe are getting on the school bus this week. And then we climb into the lower 70s tomorrow afternoon. My heart tells me the same. I'll email you deciding 10 a.m. Friday. Oh, so we have time to figure this out. Lisa, I will. That's my email. 10 a.m. Friday. Okay, so we have time to figure this out. My heart, yeah, and right now it's tough. So let's first talk about Thursday, okay? Because I have a feeling a lot of people are going to get confused because it is going to rain on Thursday, and we are going to get thunderstorms on Thursday. Does it look like that activity is going to stay below severe limits on Thursday? Yes. We're not really talking about a threat of severe weather on Thursday. Excuse me. There's a reason I bring my handy-dandy cup to these severe weathers. This is the same cup you'll occasionally see on TV during severe weather coverage. Anywho, yes, it is going to rain on Thursday. We are going to get some thunderstorms on Thursday. A couple of folks could deal with a little bit of rain by the time we get to the Thursday morning commute. Otherwise, we head into Tuesday afternoon. We're talking about scattered showers and thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. And again, it's going to be noisy. We're going to get a little bit of thunder. We're going to get a little bit of lightning, maybe some gusty winds across the Tennessee Valley. But for the most part, we're not really talking about a big concern for severe weather. So definitely a little bit of good news there. Showers and thunderstorms are going to stick with us as we head into the early part of the evening. But this activity is going to end as we head into the overnight, early into Friday morning. Futurecast here trying to bring around a couple of rogue showers by the time we get to the Friday morning commute. I don't really think that's going to be the case. I think we're actually going to be dry across the Tennessee Valley. From there, Friday afternoon actually looks like it's going to be quite nice. We get to enjoy some breaks in the cloud cover. We get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine. and temperatures are going to warm up. I've got a high temperature on Friday, right around 77 degrees. So it's going to be warm on Friday. Now that of course comes with a downside, and the downside is that it's going to be warm and we're going to get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine on Friday. So what the warmth and the sunshine is going to do is to help destabilize our atmosphere. And if we destabilize the atmosphere, then we increase the threat for severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. That initial band of showers and thunderstorms is going to begin to move into our neck of the woods as we head into the earliest hours of Saturday morning. We're talking like 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, 11 p.m., 12 o'clock in the morning Saturday, and then continuing through the earliest hours of Saturday. So this is, it says Friday, but it's valid Friday night and then into the earliest hours of Saturday morning. An enhanced risk for severe weather, all locations west of the I-65 corridor. A slight risk for severe weather, almost all locations east of the I-65 corridor. But I've told you guys once, twice, and a million times, it honestly doesn't matter what risk level you find yourself dealing with. Just understand that there is a threat of severe weather Friday night and then early into Saturday morning. But, okay, there's a caveat here. There is a chance that the Friday night, Saturday morning round of severe weather doesn't actually come to fruition. Okay, so let's talk about that. There's going to be an inversion in place. There's going to be basically a cap, a lid over the area, if you will. Now, no severe weather Friday night, early into Saturday morning. If the inversion holds, the threat for severe weather is going to drop, and it's going to drop somewhat significantly. As a matter of fact, it would almost drop to a point where we would just get a lot of rain across the Tennessee Valley. So, but that's only if, just a minute, there we go. But that's only if the inversion continues to hold. So there's going to be an inversion in place on Friday. If that inversion holds Friday night into Saturday morning, then what we're going to end up seeing is a lack of severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. Now, if the inversion breaks, the storms are going to be able to tap into any sort of available energy, and then we're going to see an increased threat of severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. But what exactly is an inversion? What is this cap? Okay, well, let's think about the atmosphere and how the atmosphere normally acts. Normally, as you go up in altitude, the temperatures would drop. When you're talking about an inversion, when you're talking about that cap, you're actually talking about a layer of warm air aloft. So instead of temperatures decreasing as you go up in altitude, you're actually talking about temperatures that are going to increase as you go up in altitude. And that layer of warm air, a couple of thousand feet above our heads, is going to prevent any thunderstorms from developing and really being able to build up. For thunderstorms to develop, they have to be able to build up. Parcels of air have to be able to rise. And so if we have a cap in place Friday night early into Saturday morning, those thunderstorms are not going to be able to build. They're not going to be able to rise. So they're essentially going to be halted, which means they really can't develop. Now, if this level of warm air breaks, then those storms are going to be able to rise. Those storms are going to be able to develop. And we're going to increase that threat of severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. But that's just Friday night early into Saturday morning. We have other things to talk about. So the initial round one moves through Friday night early into Saturday morning, stronger storms with a smaller chance of severe weather. But then there's going to be a second round. And that's the key here, is that there's going to be the chance for multiple rounds of severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. Keith says Sunday midnight would be 12 a.m., so 12 a.m. to 12 a.m., right? Well, I generalized the times a little bit, so we're talking Friday night into Saturday, so 12 a.m. there, and then I went through 12 p.m. on Sunday, going a little further ahead than I needed to with the 12 p.m. Sunday, but you get the gist. The timing is going to be better refined. It is only Wednesday, so the timing will be better refined, I promise, as we go further in, once we get into tomorrow. So round two develops late Saturday morning and then continues into the afternoon. So round two is going to bring the potential for all modes of severe weather. We're talking the heavy rain, the gusty winds, a little bit of hail, and a couple of tornadoes. But that's not it. There's going to be a third round of potential severe weather across the Tennessee Valley. Storms are going to develop Saturday evening and then maybe continue a little bit as we head into the overnight and then early into your Sunday morning. This third round of showers and thunderstorms, this third round of potential severe weather currently brings the best chance of severe weather. If out of any of these rounds we were talking about a tornado threat, I would probably put that tornado threat in the third round of storms, and I can say that with a level of confidence. Round one, it's going to be really hard. Round two, it's there, but it's not great. We get to round three, and we're talking about a lot of atmospheric parameters that are going to be in place for severe weather to really begin to develop across the Tennessee Valley. Now, I say all of this, and I will also tell you that I was kind of looking at some models earlier, and it looks like maybe some of the better parameters are sitting a little further to the south. And when that happens, a lot of the energy from North Alabama can end up getting pulled down into the south, and then we kind of get a bust as far as the forecast is concerned. It would end up being good news for us here across the Tennessee Valley. But if the better parameters end up lining up a little further to the south, then that would bode well for us here across the Tennessee Valley. So let's talk about our storm threats Friday night into Saturday morning. The biggest concern going to be the threat for some heavy rain, going to lead to some localized flash flooding. And then we're talking about the gusty damaging winds, and then we're talking about the tornado threat. Again, a tornado threat is going to be possible within all three rounds. It's going to be small, really small within that first round, kind of there within the second round, but then within that third round of storms that moves through Saturday evening into the overnight, gonna bring about that best chance for severe weather. Brian says, yikes, it's gonna be rough. Hopefully I'll get some sleep Friday and Saturday night. Hopefully I get some sleep too. I would really like to get some sleep, but I'll be here. Here we go again. I was watching the news earlier and the weather forecast looked really bad. I hope everyone is prepared for the severe weather conditions. I hope too, Gene. You know, that's all I can do. I can do my best to communicate the message, and from that point on, just kind of hope that everybody is as prepared as they can be. Let's look at future rainfall totals, and I have a feeling these are underdone by a little bit. This is just a model through the lunch hour on Sunday. Most of us looking at 1 to 2 inches of rain. I actually think that's underdone by a little bit, by a lot. As a matter of fact, I don't really like this model run. I'm probably going to change it to a different model run that I like a little bit more. I think some of us could get 3 to 4 inches of rain by the time we get to Sunday afternoon. Now, of course, the activity is going to be done by Sunday afternoon, and so that's why I put the lunch hour. Have a good look at the next 7 days, and we'll kind of wrap up with this. 72 on Thursday, 77 degrees on Friday, 72 on Saturday. Don't forget Friday and Saturday are Fox 54 weather impact alert days. Now we are going to be cooler Sunday, Monday, but they're still going to be really nice days. And then Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, we're quiet and back into the low 70s. Do you see level 4 moderate risk being needed for everyone? You know, River, I'd like to make an estimation on that, but truthfully, there are people who are honestly much smarter than me in charge of making those decisions. And I want to tell you this, and again, this is going to press home that decision of, or that message of, it doesn't matter what risk level you find yourself under, just understand that there is a threat of severe weather. So whether you're under a slight risk, a moderate risk, or even a high risk, you just need to understand that there is going to be a threat of severe weather. And even when you get these different risk levels, it can end up busting. So let's take the current SPC outlook, for example, the one I currently have up on the screen. So this is the Friday night early into Saturday morning. This current SPC outlook is taking into account the worst case scenario, okay? So this is assuming the cap breaks. This is assuming that storms are able to develop after that cap breaks. This is taking that into account. If the cap doesn't break, then this is a complete wash. Then in theory, one could argue that this is wrong. And we have seen SPC outlooks not come to fruition before. Emily and I were talking about it this morning. A couple of years ago, we were in back-to-back high-risk days. It was like back-to-back high-risk severe weather events. 1 week we had a high risk. The second week we had a high risk. and both of those events ended up busting. So understand, okay, that it doesn't matter your risk level at the end of the day. Just understand that there is a threat of severe weather. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with that. I told you I was going to wrap up after the 7-day, and then I didn't wrap up after the 7-day. So now I am going to wrap up. I'm going to get a couple of other things prepared, and I will see you guys later tonight for Fox 54 News at 9 o'clock.